The quiet retraction, the seething tension beneath the surface of the once glorified Brown family was far worse than the scorching desert heat outside Flagstaff. Robyn Brown's opulent rental home had a secret that had been quietly, strategically, and devastatingly successful growing behind its wrought iron gates. Cody Brown sat by himself on the porch of his former home, or so he believed. He was surrounded by a deafening silence when the shades were closed inside. No cameras, no wives, no kids. Only foreclosure notices in unopened envelopes and invoices heaped on a weathered wooden table. He had gone bankrupt. The flat broke, and he was surprised by how quickly everything had fallen apart. So far, trails of paper and disappearing zeros. Cody nearly disregarded a bank alert that turned out to be the first concrete hint. Hey, hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel, TLC Flicks. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up. A transaction linked to Dabsark Entertainment LLC, a business Robyn had covertly registered years prior, at the height of their TLC fame, was flagged on a dormant business account. Within the account? Nothing. Exhausted. Other interests, including his life insurance policy, a Utah land investment, and the Kody Pass Trust, were all strangely transferred or had missing money. Cody initially attributed it to poor bookkeeping. And then the truth knocked. Aspen, Christine's eldest daughter, had been assisting Mary in auditing previous LLCs that they had shared with Cody. Aspen had discreetly pursued a profession in forensic accounting. What she discovered chilled her to the bone. Years' worth of payments from joint marriage accounts were carefully and gradually woven into Robyn's personal financial network. Shell businesses. Phony consulting costs. Wire transfers that take place offshore. With a harsh tone of incredulity, Aspen remarked, "She's been moving your money for years, Cody. And she wasn't by herself." The new colleague, let's introduce Miles Thatcher, who is personable, polished, and surprisingly articulate. A former financial advisor, currently Robyn Brown's partner. Miles sat in front of a microphone with receipts in a shocking interview that was released to a podcast that is well known for revealing reality TV scandals. Calmly, he stated, "I met Robyn at a private wellness retreat in Sedona. She was uncooked, bitter. Cody never understood her, she told me. She said that she had had enough of living in the shadow of others. That she required a strategy." She blinked at the interviewer. "A strategy?" Miles leaned closer. "She desired to leave. She wanted everything, not just out. The home, the terrain, the back-end payments for the show. She claimed to have earned it. Taking the fall with the public was something Cody owed her. He dropped a manila envelope onto the table after removing it from his lap. And she requested my assistance in taking it all. Included were emails describing how Cody's assets were methodically reorganized in Robyn's name without his knowledge, copies of offshore transactions, and even pictures of Robyn and Miles meeting at private banks. TLC cut ties for months. The network has been silent. TLC had contemplated canceling Sister Wives completely after the divorce plotlines faded out, and ratings had dropped, until this scandal blew up in the media. TLC officials announced an immediate internal probe in a formal statement, expressing deep concern over the ethical and financial ramifications of Robyn's alleged embezzlement. Now broke and embarrassed, Cody begged them to allow him to go back on camera and tell his side. However, Christine, Janelle, and Mary had already teamed up and secured exclusive deals with a different platform for a brand new documentary series called Sister Wives, Reclaimed. "We've had enough of Cody and Robyn's drama," Janelle informed the producers. "Now, this is our story." Robyn's cold disclosure in a leaked private deposition related to a lawsuit Cody had filed for fraud and theft. Robyn eventually came out of hiding. Her voice trembled as she shouted, "I protected that man. For years. In front of America, he threw me under the bus. He pretended to be a victim while I was left to defend the mess." She displayed a pile of documents. "They weren't taken. I own them. I just formally announced it." She delivered a chilly half-smile when questioned about Miles. "He has faith in me. He assisted me in creating a future in which I wasn't a background wife living on handouts. Cody gave the keys to me. I simply chose to operate the vehicle." The last fall, the reaction was harsh and swift. Cody was harassed by creditors. The number of lawsuits grew. Gabe, Gwendolyn, and Peyton, his adult children, even turned away from him completely. In a now-viral TikTok, Paydon wrote, "You let Robyn ruin everything." While you were still discussing family unity, she played chess. After moving to Montana, Robyn and Miles established a boutique resort that promised empowerment after emotional captivity. Their grand opening went viral on the internet for days. What about Cody? He was last seen writing in a battered journal while residing in a small RV parked outside his friend's ranch. 6 months later, Sister Wives was formally canceled by TLC. Through the tinted window of Kody Brown's RV, the morning sun illuminated unpaid court notices strewn about documents, and a single framed picture of his kids from a bygone era, before the treachery, before the collapse of the business. With disheveled hair and a tired face, he stirred slowly. He had not planned to spend his golden years like this. Once boasting of being the head of a multiple family dynasty, the man now faced every day with just the bitter taste of treachery and the pain of loss. What about his bank accounts? Frozen. What's his name? Shameful. His legacy? Rewritten by tabloid headlines and court transcripts. However, something within him continued to resist total collapse. The tour of humiliation Kody's attempt to start again started with shame rather than action. He made his case on social media by posting a number of low-light movies that were shot inside the RV. His voice broke as he said, "I didn't deserve this. I sacrificed myself for that woman. For all of them. I had complete faith in Robyn. While she is away in Montana with her new lover, I am currently sleeping on a foam mattress next to a leaking wash basin." But the internet was ruthless. He was called names like Kody Kardashian, King of Gaslight, and Brown-Nosed Fool by commenters, and his memes went global. The hashtag Robyn did it better became popular. However, one clip resonated with fans. Kody cried and muttered, "I'm sorry if I hurt anyone in my family. I didn't mean to make you feel invisible. Somewhere along the line, I lost sight of the person who was bleeding to keep my dream alive. It was uncooked. It was too late. However, it was genuine." Nevertheless, years of partiality, unfulfilled promises, and misdirected allegiances could not be reversed by an apology. Unexpected partners one evening, Janelle startled everyone by sneaking over to Kody's RV with their oldest son, Logan. Kody was noticeably slimmer and holding a broken instant coffee mug as he stood motionless at the door. "What brings you here?" More perplexed than defensive, he inquired. Logan responded on her behalf. "To converse. To be human." Gazing around the messy room, Janelle sat opposite her ex-husband. She started, "You were terrible to me. To everybody. However, I never intended for you to have this." Kody's eyes filled with tears. "I believed I was keeping us safe." "No, Kody. You were keeping her safe," Janelle remarked quietly. "And now that she's gone, you have nothing left." Late into the night, they continued to talk. No making amends. No get-together. Two individuals searching through the ruins of a common past. Kody actually listened for the first time in years. The lawsuit gets stronger. Robyn's meticulously built empire started to falter in the meantime. Prosecutors couldn't overlook the opportunity that Miles Thatcher's confession had created. Kody was now helping with an independent fraud inquiry. He promised his lawyer, "I'll give you everything. Emails, old phone logs, and sign forms." She deceived me and embezzled all of my possessions via those fictitious LLCs. And he did. Documentation boxes were turned over. Robyn was subpoenaed in Montana. There were immediate repercussions for her boutique hideaway. Sponsors withdrew. Reservations disappeared. Outside her property, local news outlets set up camp. When Robyn and Miles posted soft-lit films encouraging healing from financial trauma, they attempted to change course, but the audience didn't buy it. Rumors about possible accusations, such as conspiracy, fraud, and embezzlement, started to spread via the media. Robyn was no longer the cunning genius in charge. She never imagined that a judicial storm would turn against her. The truth of a daughter, Robyn's daughter Aurora, and Kody's lawfully adopted child delivered one of the most devastating blows. Aurora broke her silence in an unexpected interview with a major podcast. "I cherish my mother. However, I disagree with what she did. As she drained his money accounts, I saw her deceive him and smirk in his face. When she would murmur about setting herself free at night, I sensed something was off. Aurora disclosed that she had made one attempt to alert Cody. He said that I was having hallucinations. My mom would never do that to me, he claimed. He didn't think I was real. As she concluded the interview, her voice broke. He knows now. The surprise return no one saw coming. Cody discovered an odd new lifeline in his eldest daughter, Maddie, as Robyn's reputation collapsed and the legal system closed in. She had been aloof for many years. She did, however, accept TLC's covert offer of a small documentary series on the fallout, but only if she could choose how her father's narrative was presented. Brown Out, The Fall of a Patriarch is the working title. Cody paused. A pity piece is not what I want. Maddie gave a headshake. This isn't sympathy. It's responsibility. It's about presenting the terrible, damaged, and possibly redemptive truth. Ashes remain after smoke clears. Cody is shown standing by himself on the edge of the now-vacant Coyote Pass property in the last scene of the new docuseries teaser. There was nothing but dirt and ghosts on the land he had once said would bring his family together. Over the wind, one line reverberates. You lose everything sometimes, and then you see yourself at last. The indictment is dropped. The flashing lights of federal trucks, wheeling up the gravel driveway of Robyn Brown's boutique getaway, broke the stillness of a Montana morning. Just after sunrise, it was early. The wind was silent and the air was thin. 3 agents and a federal prosecutor were waiting for Robyn when she opened her front door, clad in an opulent fleece shawl. "Robyn Alice Brown?" one inquired. She gripped her coffee cup and gave a rigid nod. "You are being investigated for embezzlement, financial fraud, and misappropriation of business and marital assets." Her face was devoid of color. Miles Thatcher remained motionless behind her. He didn't think it would happen so quickly, or to also come for him. Unmasking Miles, even Robyn wasn't prepared for the much darker story that surfaced when federal authorities started going through Robyn and Miles' boutique financials. Miles Thatcher was more than simply a financial advisor. Robyn had been seduced by his flawless hair and polished demeanor during her alleged healing era. He was previously under investigation for money laundering through spiritual wellness companies in California and Oregon. He was a disbarred wealth consultant. In previous scams, he had employed at least 2 aliases. One company, Pathway to Rebirth LLC, had inexplicably shut down the week that IRS audit started. The agent's second round of interrogation, which concentrated on Miles' manipulation and her potential involvement in a larger financial conspiracy ring, caught Robyn off guard since she was already in disbelief about the claims against her. During her deposition, Robyn sobbed. "He told me we were starting fresh, that I was worthy of being free, that I had been taken advantage of by Cody. I was unaware of the other women. I was unaware of the existence of shell companies. I promise." However, investigators no longer thought she was merely a victim. Discovery makes everything clear. The state produced a damning digital trail during the preliminary hearings. Robyn directly approved money transfers from joint family LLCs into offshore accounts, as evidenced by dozens of emails. Cody's signature was forged on a signed promissory note to sell Coyote Pass land. Miles makes fun of Robyn in his private chat logs with another accomplice, calling her desperate for power and easy to mold. In one message, Miles wrote, "She believes that I am her savior. My only goal is to make money and go on." Robyn let out an audible gasp and buried her face in her hands when those texts were read aloud in court. "Now you know," Cody said plainly as he watched from the back row of the courtroom next to Mary and Janelle. A public accounting. The media circus blew up. The story was reported by all of the major tabloids, including TMZ, People, Page 6, and even Dateline, with headlines like "Robyn Brown, Queenpin of Reality TV," "The Sister Wives Fraud Scandal," "Love, Lies," and LLC's Miles Thatcher, "Criminal Puppet Master" or "Cult of Personality." Within days, The Brown Empire, a popular expose podcast, rose to the top of Apple's true crime charts. During her appearance on the 2nd episode of the podcast, Mary said, "Because we valued unity, we allowed Robyn entry. However, she never had faith in us. She was a control freak, in being the sole surviving individual. And now she is just that, single and vulnerable." The trial starts. Robyn Brown was formally charged with several felonies: fraud by wire fraud in banks, theft of identity collusion, to commit fraud avoiding taxes. Similar allegations were brought against Miles Thatcher, but he flipped, unlike Robyn. Quick. In exchange for testifying against her, he accepted a plea deal, proving Robyn was not merely a bystander, but a full collaborator in the scheme to embezzle Cody's fortune through the manipulation of TLC contracts, income concealment, and the establishment of a new life fund for their flight from Montana. The courtroom was chilled by his testimony. He remarked, "She wanted to leave the show, but with the money. I get to rewrite the story if I leave him with nothing," she remarked. "I end up being the victim. The victim is always forgiven in America." She was icy. Calculated. She was aware of her actions. Robyn breaks while on trial. Robyn Brown was unrecognizable, frail, shaking, hollow-eyed. When it came time for her to testify, she made an effort to appear composed while wearing a basic black blazer and minimal makeup. However, her defenses broke down when she was cross-examined over her falsified documents and Miles' treachery. She sobbed, "I just wanted a life where I mattered. I was the fourth wife, the antagonist on television for years. You have no idea what it's like to smile on television and be despised by everyone. Miles gave me a sense of importance. I had no intention of hurting anyone." She was asked one last question by the prosecution. "Did you ever think that what you were doing would ruin the father of your children?" She hesitated. Then softly, "No. I didn't believe he would notice." The phrase Robyn was convicted of 4 charges of conspiracy and fraud. She was sentenced to 5 years of supervised probation, 18 months of house arrest, obligatory restitution to Cody Brown in the amount of $890,000, and a permanent ban from owning or managing corporate organizations without supervision by the judge, who was clearly troubled by her lack of regret until she was discovered. With no chance of release, Miles Thatcher was sentenced to 4 years in federal prison. A final farewell. Robyn was taken to her Montana home to start house arrest after being sentenced. Her business, her reputation, and her future with Miles were all gone. Her kids wouldn't come. All of her previous shows were removed from streaming services by TLC. Additionally, her online store reviews were suddenly filled with hateful comments from a once loyal fan following. Cody, however, refrained from boasting. He merely wrote one statement on his recently modest blog: "It cost me everything, but I can see clearly now." Robyn's cage, the formerly immaculate Montana store, has turned into Robyn Brown's cage after losing both its identity and its promise. She shuffled barefoot through echoing hallways while under home arrest and under constant observation with a court-ordered ankle monitor. Her hideaways smelt of loneliness and the subtle decay of withering lavender bundles, where it had formerly been filled with soothing music and diffused essential oils. She was not permitted to leave the building. No access to social media, no financial rights, and no business. Now her world consisted of legal papers, dusty windows, and the eerie quiet of her alone. Every day, her phone rang with voicemails that she refused to listen to. The majority came from creditors. A few from journalists. Not one of her kids. The distance of Aurora, 2 months prior, Robyn's shadow, Aurora, had left. She was in treatment and attending a community college to study psychology. She now lived in North Carolina with Maddie and Caleb. Aurora revealed in the heartfelt podcast episode, "Escaping the Shadow," "I once thought my mother was a victim. However, I later discovered how easily she lied, even to us. I can no longer be controlled, even though I still adore her. She destroyed all of us, not just Dad." She spoke of waking up to arguments that had taken place at midnight, financial secrets, and whispered discussions of burning everything down in order to start over. She stated, "All I wanted was peace, and that meant abandoning her." Cody, rebuilding silently at last. Cody was back in Arizona, working as a part-time construction project manager for one of his old contractors from the Coyote Pass days, not as a reality star. He joined a weekly men's accountability group run by a local community support organization and resided in a modest prefabricated home close to Flagstaff. One evening, he admitted to the group, "I wanted to blame her. Perhaps I still do. However, I disregarded the warnings. I allowed her to keep me apart from my closest loved ones." The names of Gabe and Garrison were not spoken out loud. Words could hardly express the depth of the anguish. However, Savannah paid a visit one day. She gave him a lunch, gave him a firm embrace, and left him a straightforward card. "We long for the past you. Locate him once more." Christine, Janelle, and Mary. The ascent. Now all three of the ex-wives were doing well. Rejuvenated and powerful, Mary had begun a popular speaking tour about surviving spiritual abuse and received recognition for her openness and honesty. As a passionate financial educator, Janelle co-founded the Sovereign Sisterhood platform with Aspen and Maddie, educating women how to deal with divorce, reestablish their finances, and spot emotional manipulation. Each of the three ladies explored new chapters, new love, and redefined freedom in their new TLC-backed docuseries, found The Sister Wives Reclamation, which Christine spearheaded. What's their message? Building your future does not require destroying your past. All you have to do is stop allowing other people dictate your tale. The last seasons of Sister Wives were overshadowed by the ratings. The supporters had spoken. The real survivors were these women. The kids take up the torch. The idea of an unscripted YouTube series hosted by the Brown kids themselves was first proposed by Gwendolyn. Title: Legacy Sister Wives Children. In the premiere, Gwendolyn stated, "We're not here to trash anyone. We're here to discuss what it was like to grow up in that world. The good, the ugly, and the things that no one dared to broadcast on television." A topic was covered in each episode, spiritual trickery being the child that got lost, the happy polygamist home myth, the way that Robyn and Cody's marriage affected us all. Leon even made a comeback to take part in a stirring episode called Identity versus Doctrine, which addressed the conflict of being LGBT in a religion that had previously disapproved of them. In just 2 months, the show had over 4 million subscribers. Robyn's letter of redemption. Robyn wrote handwritten letters to each of the original Brown family members 6 months after being placed under house arrest. They were intimate, unpleasant, not always well received though. To Cody, "You have always been loved by me. However, I cherished the thought of getting away more. I was merely repeating a loop, but I mistakenly believed I was creating something fresh. I apologize, but I am unable to repair what I have damaged. Not because of the charges. Not for the cash. For my weaponized love." Cody didn't read past the second sentence of his letter before burning it in a fire pit. Mary captioned her Instagram photo of hers, saying, "Not enough. It's too late. Too familiar." Hers was never opened by Janelle. Christine was the only one to reply, in a single sentence. "You won't find peace with lies, but I hope you do." The last scene cameras reappeared for a final TLC special a year later. Sister Wives, the final episode, in an open field close to the former Coyote Pass property. The whole family assembled. Cody, with softer eyes and a gray beard, stood in the center. Mary, Janelle, and Christine stood tall and proud. Together, the kids giggled, healing as they went. But Robyn wasn't there. Cody turned towards the mountains in the last seconds. "I thought I was the shepherd when I started this family. I was but another lost sheep though. I'm no longer needed as their leader. They're figuring things out on their own." And that could be the true legacy. The plot of the comeback. Robyn Brown started planning her return, not to her family, but to fame, 14 months into her house imprisonment, with just a few months remaining on her sentence. She had long since closed her boutique hideaway. Her kids had turned away from her. Her disgraced ex-partner, Miles Thatcher, refused to communicate with her while he was spending his time in a low-security federal jail. Her Montana property's walls reverberated with desperation and solitude. Then the phone rang. An independent digital media outlet that specializes in contentious exposés got in touch. "We would like to provide you the opportunity to present your case. No edits, no TLC. Just a platform, the truth, and you." Robyn viewed it as her opportunity. Not only to get her name cleared, but to reclaim the story. The interview, "I was made the villain," it was a bomb of a teaser. A thin but calm Robyn sat across from a young journalist in the Robyn Brown, unfiltered teaser. She was wearing muted greens and had her hair pulled back with exacting perfection. She said, "They portrayed me as the snake, as the one who finds gold, as the one who destroys. However, nobody questioned how I managed to survive as the victim of the most dysfunctional polygamist delusion in America." She was shown sobbing, defending her marriage, and quietly disparaging Christine, Mary, and Janelle in the clips. Christine would always disappear. She hated me from the beginning. Janelle did the same. Mary? More than she wanted Cody back. She wanted him to suffer. But me? I remained. I was faithful. And I had to pay for it. The retaliation start. Several of the Brown kids publicly criticized Robyn before the entire interview even aired. YouTube video uploaded by Gwendolyn. So you're the victim once more? You took from our father. You misled us. You removed people from his life. You were fully aware of what you were doing. Green screening her preview video with his own response. Paydon posted a biting TikTok. It's like a fox wailing in the chicken cage when Robyn talks about loyalty. Because she loved my dad, she left. She remained to direct the conclusion. Even Aurora, who had been quiet for months, left a remark on a post that went viral. I feel ashamed. I don't want this woman to continue telling our tale. The interview breaks down on a Thursday evening. The entire interview was shown. It was streamed live to more than 2.5 million viewers. Initially, Robyn remained calm. On cue, she burst into tears. She discussed trauma. She also hinted that she had been forced to make several of her financial choices, though she never explicitly said so. However, the interviewer retaliated. You've never truly taken complete responsibility for anything. You're still placing blame on other people. Can you state this clearly? I took something from Cody. I deceived him. Did I hurt anyone? Robyn hesitated for too long. In a family that never accepted me, I did what I had to do to survive. That moment, which was recorded, edited, and shared, went viral right away. The quote hit a new low in public opinion and became a meme and t-shirt. Her interview was dubbed a narcissistic disaster by detractors, admirers, and even impartial media sources. One headline said, Robyn Brown, from laughingstock to villain to victim. TLC reacts quickly. TLC released a rare public statement after being tarnished by the aftermath of the original Sister Wives collapse. Robyn Brown has no connection to TLC, any of our current shows, or our plans for the future. Her current behavior is entirely her own and does not reflect the ideals of our network. In a cruel turn of events, TLC revealed a brand new spin-off with the Brown kids called Legacy, Disrupting the Norm. The preview? We had dysfunctional upbringing. We will not bring up our kids in it. With voices stronger and more distinct than their parents ever permitted, the entire following generation was taking the stage. Robyn's last banishment. Robyn started a personal blog in an attempt to repair her reputation following the botched interview. In an attempt to win people over, make money off of her truth, and regain support, she gave it the title, The Other Side of the Story. She wrote 3 posts. Thousands of hateful comments were left on the first 2. For all the wrong reasons, the third, ironically named Why I Still Believe in Love, crashed her server. Then came the last straw. After users accused her donation page of making false fundraising claims, GoFundMe suspended it. Finally alone as federal monitors took off Robyn's ankle device for the final time, she went outside her Montana house one chilly spring morning, her hair blowing in the wind and her bathrobe fluttering. She had freedom. She had nowhere to go, though. Absent. No companion. No fandom. No kids phoning. No husband is waiting. To cover reparations, the retreat had been sold at auction. Her previous vehicle was repossessed. Her attorney stopped answering her phone. Her once-desired stardom has turned into a prison. Sitting by herself in the deserted kitchen, she browsed social media. Not her own, but that of Aurora, Brianna, and Dayton. They're all doing well. They didn't mention her. Her phone rang. Blocked phone number. She didn't respond. The last shot, Gwendolyn was standing at Coyote Pass with her brothers in the last moments of the season finale of the Legacy spinoff. They had come back to bury, not to create. Every kid filled a tiny box with a symbolic object. An outdated TLC script was put by Maddie. Logan brought in a copy of Robyn's now-cancelled retreat pamphlet. A family portrait they had held onto for too long was presented by Leon. Aurora set down her mother's final unopened letter, trembling yet firm. Under a tree, they buried the box with a plaque that said, "This is the version of us that was never given the opportunity to speak." The Brown kids then left, walking hand in hand into the future. Let us know in your comments. And stay tuned by subscribing our channel to get more updates like this. Thanks everyone.